Ethan Kane had traded the roar of jet engines for the quiet hum of civilian life. Yet the memories of missions past clung to him like shadows. Nights were the hardest, silent, dark, and full of regrets. One evening, as he tinkered with an old military-grade receiver in his small, cluttered garage, a strange signal cut through the static. It was unlike anything he'd ever encountered, erratic, encrypted, and carrying a faintly familiar cadence. The voice whispered fragments of words. Area 51 true. Danger in. Curiosity gnawed at him. Ethan knew the desert of Nevada wasn't merely home to classified aircraft. It was a vault of secrets the government had fiercely guarded for decades. The transmission seemed almost personal, tailored specifically to him. Was it a trap or a plea for help? His instincts as a pilot, and as a soldier trained to chase the impossible, kicked in. He decided he had to find the source, whatever the cost. Under the cover of night, he drove his rugged SUV across the barren desert, following coordinates embedded in a signal. The closer he got, the more he felt a tension in the air, as though the facility itself was aware of his presence. High fences, radar towers, and armed sentries hinted at the world-class security of Area 51. But Ethan wasn't deterred. Every step into the shadowed perimeter drew him deeper into a secret far beyond aircraft and alien rumors. Breaking through the final layer of security using his military experience, Ethan slipped into the sterile, brightly lit interior. His pulse raced as he expected to see alien technology or otherworldly machinery. Instead, what confronted him was human but altered. In containment chambers, men and women with unnatural physiques and piercing eyes lay restrained, monitored by silent machines. The message began to make horrifying sense. These were not invaders from space. They were something else entirely. One of the subjects lifted its head slowly and spoke in a voice that chilled Ethan to the bone. "Ethan, it's time to save yourself." Ethan froze, heart pounding, as the strange figure's eyes met his. They weren't human, or at least not entirely. The sharpness of their gaze, the subtle glow beneath their skin, hinted at something beyond natural evolution. Questions raced through his mind. Who were these people? How had they come to be here? And why did they call him by name? As he cautiously approached, a hidden console flickered to life, displaying a series of encrypted files. Ethan's instincts took over. He began sifting through them, uncovering shocking truths. These weren't extraterrestrials, but humans from the future, genetically enhanced to survive a looming global catastrophe. Somehow, the government had discovered them and brought them to this facility to study, experiment, and perhaps weaponize. Every file contained meticulous records, DNA sequences, temporal anomalies, survival rates, even notes on psychological conditioning. Ethan realized that some of the enhanced humans were conscious, aware of their captivity. They whispered fragmented warnings, hinting at horrors outside the facility, devastation that awaited the world if their powers were misused. Driven by a sense of duty, Ethan tried to release one of them, manipulating the locks and security codes with skill born of years in the military. But before he could free anyone, a voice crackled over the intercom. "You shouldn't be here, Kane." A shadow fell across the corridor. A figure appeared, someone who seemed to know him intimately, from a past he barely remembered. The agent's presence exuded control and menace. Ethan barely escaped, narrowly avoiding capture as alarms blared and lights stuttered. He sprinted through sterile corridors, every turn revealing new chambers filled with future humans, some observing him silently, others writhing in torment. Amid the chaos, Ethan found a secure terminal, and on it lay a single file marked in bold red letters, Project Kane. Hesitation froze him as he opened it, revealing DNA sequences, mission logs, and cryptic notes, proof that his own existence was central to the entire program. Ethan's stomach churned. If he was part of the plan, what did that mean for his choices? And could he even trust his own instincts anymore? Ethan sat in the dim glow of the terminal, staring at the words Project Kane over and over. His own DNA, his own life, somehow tied to the experiments on these enhanced humans. It was impossible to grasp. Then, the terminal flickered, and a new transmission appeared. At first, he thought it was another government warning, but the voice was unmistakable. It was his own, older, more weary, yet urgent. "Ethan, listen carefully," the transmission said. "Everything you're seeing here, it's part of a loop. Every action you take will ripple through time. Do not interfere blindly." Ethan's mind raced. Could this really be him speaking from the future? The voice continued, warning of the delicate balance that kept the world from unraveling. Every attempt to free the enhanced humans, every step he took within the facility, could either prevent or accelerate the impending catastrophe. He began seeing flashes, visions of himself moving through the corridors in multiple timelines. Some versions fighting heroically, others captured, some even bleeding out. The facility itself seemed alive, reacting to his presence. Doors that should have been closed opened on their own. Alarms went off without reason. Shadows darted across walls, hinting at versions of Ethan he hadn't yet met, or perhaps hadn't yet become. Determined to understand, Ethan approached one of the containment chambers. A subject inside locked eyes with him and whispered, "Time isn't your ally, it's your prison." Suddenly, the figure extended a hand, as if reaching through time itself. The sensation was disorienting, almost nauseating, but Ethan's instincts forced him to grab it. A jolt surged through him, and he felt reality bend. Memories of things he hadn't yet done collided with memories of what had already passed. The vision tightened its grip, and a voice echoed directly in his mind. "You have to choose, Ethan. Save them or save yourself." Ethan stumbled backward, gasping, as the vision faded, leaving him in a cold, sterile corridor. His pulse was a hammer in his chest. The warning echoed in his mind. Save them or save yourself. He didn't know which path to take. Only that time itself was fracturing around him. Each corridor, each room, felt like a crossroads in countless parallel timelines, and every decision carried consequences beyond imagination. Determined to act, Ethan gathered a small group of the enhanced humans he had freed earlier. They were cautious, wary, but desperate. Among them was Mara, whose intelligence and calm demeanor quickly made her a trusted ally. Together, they formulated a plan. Infiltrate the central control hub, shut down the experiments, and expose the truth to the outside world. For the first time since entering Area 51, Ethan felt a spark of hope. But hope in the facility was dangerous. One of the enhanced humans, someone Ethan had believed to be loyal, betrayed them. The alarms blared as armed agents stormed the corridors. Ethan barely dodged stun rounds and security drones, dragging Mara and the others with him. Panic and fear threatened to overtake him, but amidst the chaos, Ethan stumbled upon another shocking revelation. The apocalypse was not just a future threat, it was already in motion. Catastrophic events had begun unfolding in distant cities, disasters that seemed linked to the very experiments he was trying to stop. Every choice he had made had contributed to the chain reaction. Each rescue attempt, each intervention, had rippled outward, tightening the noose around humanity. Ethan realized the bitter truth. He wasn't just a player in this game, he was the catalyst. Cornered in the central lab, as alarms blared and the facility systems began to collapse, Ethan heard a voice over the intercom. "Ethan Kane, you are the key, but do you have the courage to rewrite destiny?" Ethan Kane's lungs burned as he sprinted through the collapsing corridors of Area 51. Sparks rained from exposed wiring, and alarms screamed in a cacophony that made every nerve in his body tingle. Around him, containment chambers shattered, releasing enhanced humans who surged forward. Some panicked, some defiant. The facility itself seemed to shudder as if it knew the climax had arrived. Time, fractured and chaotic, hung like a storm around him, each second threatening to split reality apart. He reached the central chamber, the heart of the temporal experiments. There, the console hummed with energy beyond comprehension. The transmission from his future self played on a loop in his mind. Merge. Take the step. The world depends on it. Ethan understood what he had to do. He had to merge his present consciousness with his future self. It was a gamble of cosmic proportions. Succeed, and he could avert the apocalypse. Fail, and he would be erased from existence entirely, along with the fragile chance to save humanity. Taking a deep breath, Ethan initiated the sequence. The energy surged, and reality twisted around him. Memories of past and future collided, visions of timelines both destroyed and saved flashing across his mind. He felt every version of himself, the heroic, the cowardly, the betrayed, the triumphant, all converging in one singular focus, the choice. He embraced it. The world outside trembled. The facility quaked, and then silence. Ethan opened his eyes to a sky tinged with a strange but hopeful light. The apocalypse had been prevented, or at least delayed. Around him, the enhanced humans looked up in awe, free at last. But as he stepped toward the exit, a faint, encrypted signal buzzed through the airwaves, one that chilled him to the bone. He recognized the cadence immediately. "Ethan, it's not over." Ethan's jaw tightened. The fight wasn't finished. Somewhere, somehow, the next chapter had already begun. The world was saved for now, but destiny had more games to play